Let's get it. Alrighty. Hope y'all are having a great day, a great night, depending on what time you're watching this video. Okay, we're gonna get right into it. But before we do, go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so today we're talking about how to build credit and how to also fix bad credit. Okay, so first things first, why do we need credit? Right? It's super important to have credit if you want to make a large purchase, talking about like a car or a house or something like a loan, right? And you want to have a low interest rate, right? You want to show the banks that you're a great borrower, that you're responsible, okay? So that's why we want to build credit. It shows how responsible you are with debt. And if you want to acquire a lot of debt, then you need to have good credit or you're going to have a really bad interest rate, okay? So if we're talking about starting from scratch, right? You have no credit, okay? The first thing is, right, you've heard this all the time is like, hey, go out and buy a $500 watch or a chain or a necklace or some type of jewelry from the mall to start your credit, okay? I mean, if you don't really need it, then why are you even gonna put yourself in debt for something that you don't need, okay? Right, you're better off just taking that same money and applying it to a secured credit card, okay? So with the secured credit card, you're telling the bank that you're using your own collateral, your own money, okay, to have a credit card. And so you might as well do that instead of buying some jewelry that you really don't need, okay? And so secure credit card is the first thing, right? It's using your own money and the banks will give it to you because you have your own collateral, okay? Very high approval odds, right? Next is being an authorized user on someone else's credit card, right? So if you know somebody, mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, aunt, uncle, right? Really, trusted friend or somebody that's, has good credit, right? Making on-time payments, maybe has a really high credit limit on one of their cards, right? And is being responsible with that high limit, then ask them to add you as an authorized user, okay? So they're telling their lender, hey, this person is responsible, I'm vouching for them, they're gonna, be responsible with the card, okay? And so then you become an authorized user, you didn't have to apply, it's instant credit, basically, right? And so, yeah, it's low risk and you have a card, okay? Now what you could do with this card, right, when you get it in the mail or wherever you're gonna get it, cut it, don't even use it, right? You already have your secured credit card, become an authorized user, cut that card, don't even use it, right? And anytime the person makes a payment or they're, making, on-time payments, then it's gonna affect your credit, it's gonna boost it, okay? So you get instant credit, really high approval odds, there is no really, like credit screen, you're just becoming an authorized user. Now, one cool thing is if you have kids, right, you can add your kids as an authorized user to start their credit, right? And so super crucial if you have any kids and you want to, start their credit from scratch very young, then yeah, add them as an authorized user. But as long as you are making on-time payments with your credit cards and you are a great borrower, right, then you can add someone to your, authorized user list and build their credit, right? So giving them a head start in the future, okay? Next is a CoSigner, right, on a car, right? So if you need a new car, right, and you're making good money and you can afford a monthly payment, right, then yeah, let's go get a car, right? Get a CoSigner so that way you can get a low interest rate and make your payments on time. And so that way you don't have to worry about that. Because late payments, man, that really affects your credit. And so we'll talk about how to fix bad credit, but yeah, if you feel like you're responsible enough and you can afford a car payment, right, get a CoSigner, that way you have a low interest rate and low payments, right? Or you can go and try and get the loan yourself, right? If you've been building your credit, you're an authorized user, you have your secure credit card, right? You've had some credit history, go and try and get the loan on your own, but make sure you can afford it, right? That's where we all mess up, okay? If you're not responsible and you get something you can't, pay, then it's gonna be bad, and you're gonna be late, and it's gonna show the banks that you're not a responsible borrower, right? You don't manage debt well. Next is opening your own credit card, right? And when you have a credit card, or you have even the secured credit card, you want to buy things that you're already buying with the debit card, okay? You should be using a credit card like a debit card to really boost your credit, because you don't want to buy something that you don't need, that you're not you're not already buying just to buy something on the credit card just to pay it off. Like some people will get a credit card and they buy a TV, or they go into debt for a new, even a new car they can't afford, or something big, right? And it's useless. You don't want to do that, okay? So when you open your credit card, buy stuff you're already buying, groceries, gas, right? Bills, right? Whatever, like stuff that you're already using your debit card for, use your credit card for that and then pay it off with your debit card, right? I'm sure you've seen some ads for that, what's it called? That debit card that builds credit. I forgot what it's called, but it'll come to me and I'll post in comments or whatever. But that thing, right? The extra debit card, my bad. The extra debit card, right? I don't think that's a bad idea, right? Connects to your bank account and your limit is what's inside your bank account. So you can't use more than what your bank account shows. So I think that's really good to start off credit, right? And I can leave a link in below. I don't have one personally, but hey, it sounds like it would be a good idea, right? Can't spend more than what's in your bank account. So that way it forces you to be responsible with your debt. Okay, that's how we build credit from scratch. Now we're gonna get into how to fix bad credit. The first thing you wanna do when fixing bad credit is get an outlook on your credit, right? You can get free credit reports. If you don't have Credit Karma, make an account, it's free, right? You should never pay for a credit report, right? You can also go to annualcreditreport.com, okay? Get a free one-time report, okay? Scan that sucker for late payments, collections, foreclosures, bankruptcies, right? Any negatory remarks, okay? Right? Find all the negative remarks, and if they're not accurate, then dispute them, right? If they are accurate and you try to lie and dispute it, it's only gonna make your credit worse, okay? Now, next, pay off your credit cards ASAP. So if you've been trying to build credit, right? You got a few credit cards and you maxed them out, now it's time to pay them off, right? So what I've done in the past is line up all your credit cards, right? Line up how much you owe on them, line up the, the limit, right? The APR and the due dates, okay? Now what I suggest is paying off the least amount first. So if you owe 500 on this one, 1,500 on this one, 5,000 on this one, 10,000 on this one, right? Start with the low one, okay? So try to pay off as much as you can, right, with your disposable income to the low credit card first, get it paid off, right? Make maybe a little slight more than your minimums on the rest, or maybe your minimums on the rest, right? This is gonna be, it's gonna take time to build your credit back if you have bad credit. So be patient and it takes time, okay? So pay off your small ones first, right? Make minimum payments on the rest. And then when that one's paid off, now you have more disposable income. Because let's say you have the $500 one that you have to pay off, right? You do $250 1 month, right? And you're doing, whatever the minimums on that, okay? Then you do $250 the next month, pay that one off, right? And you're doing minimums on the rest. Now you have an extra $250 that now that you're not having to pay to that credit card, now you can pay to the next one. Okay, so you're paying $250 plus disposable income to whatever you can. Try and pay these suckers off fast, right? And the minimums on the rest, okay? And then keep doing that. Paying off as much as you can, and then you pay off the credit card, and then boom, you hit the next one, hit the next one, hit the next one, okay? And then make the minimums on the rest, right? So you're not falling behind, you're not making any late payments, right? Make your payments on time. That's gonna affect your credit score, okay? So your credit score is dictated by these things, right? 35% is on-time payment history, okay? 30% is based on utilization, okay? 50% is based on length of history, okay? 10% is credit mix, right? Meaning what's on your account, right? You have a loan, mortgage, right? Credit or auto loan, whatever, different loans, different credit cards, mortgages, that's your mix, right? 10% is that, okay? Then the last 10% is gonna be new credit, right? Opening new lines. So most important is on-time payments, right? Then utilization, okay? And then, length of history of your credit. So, okay, next, how we can fix bad credit, right? If you don't have that many credit cards open and your limits are pretty small, right? You can open another credit card to kind of increase your limit and lower utilization. So if you have maxed out credit card of $1,000, then you open up another card at $10,000 limit. Now your $1,000 doesn't seem like a lot compared to the amount you can borrow. Right now, instead of using 1,000 out of 1,000, you're using 1,000 out of 11,000. That makes sense? Now, if you're irresponsible and you have bad spending habits, then I do not recommend opening up another credit card because you're just gonna max that one out as well. Okay, but if you can be responsible, then yes, you can open up another credit card. It has a higher limit and it lowers your utilization, which will increase your score. Okay, Now, again, I only recommend that if you're responsible and you don't use that credit card. Now, when you're paying off the other credit cards, something to keep in mind is not using the credit cards while you're paying them off, okay? So you gotta really dictate how much disposable income you have to apply to your credit. And again, you gotta be patient, right? If you can't pay them all off in a certain time, like give yourself even 2 years, right? It's okay. Think long-term like we've been talking about. I want my debt all paid off in 2 years. That's a good, amount of time right there. So you're making your monthly payments, but you got to be diligent, right? And persistent with the paying it off and not using it and just using your income. Because the cool thing is once it's all paid off, right? And now you have good credit, okay? Now you have a lot of disposable income and now you can start using the credit cards as a debit card like we were saying before, okay? So yeah, another way to fix bad credit is you can open up another line, right? Increase your limit, decrease your utilization if you're responsible. Next, any like foreclosures or bankruptcies, right? If you have any, try and dispute them, right? If they are errors. You could get, your identity hacked and have a foreclosure or bankruptcy, okay? Yeah, dispute that for sure. Okay, next is dispute any foreclosures over 7 to 10 years, right? Any bankruptcies, then that's easier to dispute. Next, if the lender is no longer in business, then dispute that for sure, because most likely they'll take it off. Okay, so quick recap on building credit and fixing bad credit. The most important thing is making on-time payments, right? Don't be late. Okay, the more late you are, the more it's going to affect your credit, right? And if it's 30 days out, then it'll affect your credit, right? 60 days out affects it more, 90 days out affects it even more, right? And after I think it's 180 days, it goes into collections, right? We don't want that. So if you have anything in collections, then I would call and negotiate a payment, okay? And so that way they can take it off before it hits the account for 7 years or whatever, okay? So yeah, on-time payments, dispute any errors, get your free credit report, okay? Go on Credit Karma, right? Be really diligent on your credit, right? Check it, daily if you have to, right? So it's in top of mind and you're always thinking about it and you're setting a reasonable expectation of paying off all your credit. That way you can keep your score high, okay? That's all I really have for you. If you have any comments or you want to see a video on a certain topic and get my perspective on it, go ahead and leave a comment below, okay? I can also leave some resources as far as, some good credit cards to start with that can build your credit without, that keeps you, accountable, right? Keeps you responsible, like the extra debit card, or I've heard of self credit card or self credit, right? That one's a really cool one too, because it's like a savings account that builds credit. And so what you do is you're making your payments, right? You're making into like this account, and it's, let's say $100 a month, right? You're putting $100 into a savings account, but the self credit whatever is reporting it to the bureau, so it's reporting as on-time payments, right? But you have to be making them on time, okay? So it's a savings account that builds credit, and I like that one a lot. And you have the extra debit card, which is a credit card or a debit card that builds credit. Yeah, so a couple ways to build some credit without going into debt. Cool. Yep. Again, leave a comment. I'd love to get your feedback, and you guys have a great day. And we'll finish off with the quote. It's from Alexa Von Tobel, and she said, "A good financial plan is a roadmap that shows us exactly how the choices we make today affect our future." And that's all I have for you guys.